It's really good to see you. Today we have some yummy food. Well, I think it's yummy. You may not agree, but you're not eating it, so don't worry about it. We have some pork chops here that I just made. They're still very hot. I have some cheese and some tomatoes that I just cut up and added a little salt to. And I figured I would sit down and eat with you guys. My kids didn't want any. So I said, fine, I'll just go eat by myself. And catch you up on some stuff. That's the best pork chop. Every time I make them, I say that. I want to show you the ones I use. If I can find my phone. I can't find, there it is. Sorry. I took a picture of it. If you live in the United States and you have Aldi, you might be able to find these. And I took a picture so I could show you what the package of pork chops looks like. And it's kind of hard to, whoops. Well, it's wanting to be it's disagreeable. Dagnabbit. I'm sorry. Rotate. Well, it didn't work. Never mind. I'll just read to you what it says. I'm sorry. It is center cut. It's boneless loin center cut pork chops. And I got them at Aldi. And usually you'll have 4 cuts to a package. And the price I think is very reasonable. So I take the center cut pork chops and then I'll fry them. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. You dip them in egg, take an egg, beat it up, dip both sides in egg, and then you dip them each side in Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. Doesn't matter what brand, just Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. And then you fry them in olive oil. Now, I've tried different kinds of oil. I know some of y'all like the way I say that. I can't say oil. It's like I feel like I'm going to sprain something when I do that. Everybody growing up, that's how we said it, oil. You just, motor oil, olive oil. I mean, it's just where I'm from, that's how you say it. It feels weird to not say it that way. So it doesn't matter what kind of olive oil you buy. I just use the least expensive. I've tried the more expensive types of olive oil. It didn't really make any difference, but I did notice that as long as you fry them in olive oil, it tastes better. So you just fry them until they're all white in the middle. You don't see any of the pink coloring left in there. And they're incredibly good. You don't have to add salt or anything. It's great. Somebody's mowing down the street. I'm sorry, I was going to wait until they finished, but they started right as I sat down to make this. And I did not want these pork chops to get cold because they're so good right when you just finish them and they've cooled off just a little bit. That's when they're the best. I didn't want to miss that. What's been going on? I'm distracted. I'm sorry. It's good. I'm telling you, if you've never cooked and you want to try to cook something, make these pork chops. I don't use a lot of oil in the pan. I don't put a lot in there. I do just enough to coat the bottom of the pan, and I just fry them in a frying pan on medium heat. Turn them over a few times, and just until they're all white all the way through. And then when they're done, I take them out of the oil, and I'll take a plate, like just a plate like this. I'll put a paper towel on it. And then I will put the pork chops on the towel to kind of let some of that oil drain out so it's not quite so greasy. And the paper towel will absorb a lot of that extra oil. And it's so incredibly good. I love it. It's very easy, very quick to do. Kind of hard to mess up. Don't turn your heat up too high. The oil can start to smoke and you can end up with problems. And so I just put it on a medium heat and cook them till they're white all the way through. And they're very good. It would work with any pork chops. It doesn't have to be the Aldi ones, but personally I like the Aldi ones the best. And I've tried pork chops from Fresh Market, Whole Foods, Harris Teeter, all the hoity-toity stores around this area. They're not as good as the Aldi ones. They're really not. They cost more, but they don't taste as good as these. These are the best. The Walmart ones are terrible. Don't even. Ugh, God, those are awful. I'm being all civilized since I'm eating in front of you. I'm cutting my tomato slices. I salted the tomatoes just a little bit. And I think that, no, the tomatoes came from Harris Teeter. That's where these came from. Okay. So what's been going on? Well, my yard hasn't gotten mowed, and it's been very frustrating. We had, for 5 nights in a row, last night was the first night it didn't happen. The 5 previous nights, it rained cats and dogs almost all night. I mean, from about 11 o'clock until the wee hours of the morning. It just poured down rain 5 nights in a row. And I couldn't mow because the ground is all squishy, and I have an electric lawnmower, and I don't like to mow with an electric lawnmower, and it has a cord. So I'm not going to get out there in water with an electric lawnmower because I don't have a death wish. My son does the backyard, I do the front yard. I actually like to mow. It's good exercise. It's a push mower, and I have found that when I mow, I kind of clear my head and I can think about stuff. I come up with video ideas. I plan what I want to do over the weekend, what I want to get done. It's a good time to just kind of, because I can do it without really having to think about it very much. It's a nice time to think about things and work things out. This is mild cheddar cheese from Aldi. It's good. I like it. But every night, I think, okay, if it doesn't rain, I will get out tomorrow evening after work and I will mow the front yard, and I'll have my son do the backyard. He does all the maintenance in the backyard, the weed eating, the mowing, whatever I tell him to do, he does it. And I do the front yard. He's kind of in training this summer. He's definitely improved. It looks a lot better. He's doing a lot better. He's getting his technique down pat for mowing. He doesn't zigzag as much as he used to. And when he gets really good, I'll let him do the front. He said, "Ooh, what a goal." Can't wait. A lot of people have asked what's been going on with my neighbors. Theoretically, hypothetically, what's been going on with my neighbors? Not a lot, honestly. A few things. A few things weird have happened that don't make any sense. I think the weirdest thing was the people over here. You know, Buffalo Bill lives right next door. He's not literally Buffalo Bill, but it wouldn't surprise me. He's a very strange man, or he seems strange to me. Anyway, okay. They're actually keeping their yard mowed this summer, which has made me very happy. I think they're paying somebody to mow it because it looks really good. It looks like it was done by a professional, and I know Buffalo Bill did not do it. The one time I saw him, well, he mowed twice last summer, 2 times. All summer he mowed 2 times. It looked like a jungle over there most of the time. One of the times he mowed, he was out there in shorts and a t-shirt and no shoes or socks. He was mowing barefooted, and all these grass clippings were sticking to his feet and his legs, and I can't stand that feeling myself. And it was just giving me the heebie-jeebies to see him mow the whole yard like that. I mean, what if you step on something? He was out there mowing and the grass was almost knee-high. There could have been a gazelle in there. A family of deer could have run out of that thing. And him out there with no shoes on. Not even any socks. And he mowed the whole yard like that. And he didn't bag the clippings or anything, so then you have like this foot deep stack of clippings on top of the lawn, and then it all turns brown and actually kind of looks worse than it did before he mowed. But it looks really good this summer. I'm pretty sure it wasn't him. It's not him mowing it. It actually makes mine look bad right now. It makes mine look bad because I have wanted to mow for several days, but I can't. Well, I thought today I would finally be able to go do it, but I have this lawn maintenance company that comes and manages, seeding, aeration, treatments throughout the year. My son and I do the mowing and the weed eating, but they treat it and do whatever needs to be done to make it look nice. And they came out, I did not know they were coming, but they came out and aerated and overseeded it, so I can't mow it. They told me don't mow it for 48 hours. So, dang it, well, I still can't mow. It didn't rain. It has not rained in at least about 24 hours. It has not rained a drop, and that's crazy because it's been raining like crazy around here. Somebody said they worried I was going to sling this off my fork in the last one. Honey, let me tell you, I put these on the fork in such a way that I know it's not going anywhere. My pork chops don't sling off a fork easily. That's how you know it's a good one. And it is. I'd make all of y'all one if I could, if you wanted one. They're wonderful. That wasn't a weird thing that happened, though. That was something else. I'm getting there. But I did come home the other day and their yard was nice and neatly mowed and manicured and trimmed. Like, went down and went around and did the edging and everything. Looks good. I know Buffalo Bill did not do it. Now, I've mentioned before that they had these two identical sedans at their house. Same color, same year, everything was the same. And then they were just gone. And they were gone for a long time. And I figured, well, whoever owned the sedans must be gone. I don't know who owned them. I never saw anybody drive either one of them. Now, one of those sedans had out-of-state plates on it, theoretically, maybe. And but then the one with out-of-state plates showed back up. One day I came home from work and there it was. The only thing was the whole side of it was bashed in, like somebody hit it repeatedly with a wrecking ball or something. It's like it was in a demolition derby and did not do well. But it was only on the passenger side. The driver's side looks fine. And I think somebody's still driving it. Because it's not always parked in the same spot on the driveway. They don't put anything in their garage. The only thing I've seen in their garage was this one time Buffalo Bill was out there and it looked like he had a table saw, and it almost looked like he was chopping barbecue or something on it. But it was a table saw. It wasn't like a table. I guess it was the only surface he had. I did not ask any questions. I just drove on and did not look. Like, don't stare. You might be on that table next. Theoretically. Alright, I'm getting to it, huh? And I can't remember to do soft-spoken or anything when I make these videos because I'm just talking and I forget how I'm supposed to sound. Alright, this was one morning, and I want to say this was about 2 weeks ago. One morning I was getting ready for work, and I went out to take one of the cans out to the curb for trash pickup. And that's when I happened to look over in their driveway. The cars were moved out of the driveway, parked on the street. The bashed up sedan the Buffalo Bills piece of crap little convertible car. And there's this white car that parks there sometimes. And they were all on the street. Completely filling their driveway. The garage was closed, but completely filling their driveway were, it looked like 5 complete, like really long dining room tables. Really, these were not like little kitchen tables. These were like long, formal dining room tables. And it looked like each one had 6 or 8 chairs. There were 5 of them. It completely filled up their driveway. And they didn't look new. It wasn't like new furniture. I mean, I didn't look too closely at it, but when I went to take the can out to the road and wheel it out to the road, I could look at it closely enough to see that they didn't look new. It wasn't like, oh, well, for some reason they have these 2 new or these 5 new sets of dining room tables and chairs. And they were all different. No 2 were the same. They were all different. But they looked used. I mean, they weren't falling apart, but they didn't look new. And there was nobody out there. All the lights in the house were off. This was at about 7 o'clock in the morning. So that was kind of weird. There was nothing on the tables. The chairs were pushed under the tables, you know, like you would have them set up in a dining room somewhere. And none of them were in the grass or anything. They got them all on the driveway. It was pretty tight, but they had them all on the driveway. And there was nobody out there. It was very quiet. And I had to leave around 7:30. And there were still no signs of anyone. Nobody was out there. Nobody was doing anything with them. But by the time I got back home around 5:45 that evening, they were all gone. All the tables, all the chairs, everything was gone. So I don't know if they were selling them. And then I started wondering, I mean, the house is not that big. I mean, could they have really had all that in the house? It's not a huge house. It's not tiny, but it's not huge either. It's probably 1,500 square feet. It's possible they had them all in the house this whole time. But I don't really know why you would have 5 full dining room tables and chairs in your house like that. Personally, I'd be afraid to leave them out like that. I'd be afraid, you know, somebody would take them or something. I mean, they were pretty nice. They weren't ugly or, I mean, they were fairly nice looking. That's about all that's happened with them, hypothetically speaking. It's been pretty quiet over there. Over here. Dude still has the boat, the big boat, and he and his wife have taken to arguing in their driveway. Now, I know that they have a child who has, I think, recently has gone off to college, and maybe there's a lot of stress and tension in the house because of that. I don't know. But one morning it was like they were loading a clown car out there. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was a Saturday. I remember because I was especially mad because it was a Saturday morning and I was trying to sleep. And I kept hearing car doors slam over and over, and the trunk would slam, and then the car doors would slam, and then the trunk would slam. And it went on for 20 minutes, and I thought, what in the world are they doing out there? They weren't talking or anything. I just kept hearing car doors slam, trunks opening and closing. And I finally just got up because I couldn't sleep with all that noise. I would just drift off, and then they would start doing it again. But I've noticed several evenings, theoretically noticed, the husband and Miss Grumpy Butt, she still won't speak to me. She won't smile. I looked right at her, theoretically. Came home one day. She pulled in the driveway about the same time I did. She got out of her vehicle about the same time I did. She saw me. I saw her. I said, "Hey there." She literally just turned and walked in the house. She didn't even wave back. That's like against the law in the South. Like, you can almost go to jail for something like that here. You do not do that. I don't care who you are, even if it's your mortal enemy. If they look at you and wave and say, hey, you have to respond. Not Miss Grumpy, but she saw me. She just turned on her heel and walked right on in the house. I don't know what I did to her. I don't know if I just reminded her of somebody. She has nothing to say to me, though. Anyway. So she and her spouse, and he's fine. I don't have any problem with him. I've never had him treat me like that. He's a decent neighbor. He will speak. Um, they have started arguing in their driveway at night. I mean, like late at night, 10, 11 o'clock, which is weird because there's always something going on here around 11 o'clock here lately. I'll tell you about that in a minute. I can't really make out what they're saying, but I can hear them because my bedroom is right on the corner, and I can hear them. And they're out there yelling at each other. At first I thought it was somebody on the phone, and then I realized they were yelling at each other. And I thought, take your business in the house. You have that nice big house. Go in the house and argue. The whole neighborhood does not need to know about your marital discord or whatever is going on with y'all. I almost thought about just camping out in my backyard one night, or getting comfortable out in the front yard and staying out of view to see if I could hear what it is they're arguing about, hypothetically. Because now I'm really curious, because it's happened several times since what's been going on. I've heard it a couple of times in the last week, and it may still be about the boat. I think she's still mad about that, because he was out there waxing it or doing something to it one day, because it won't fit in the garage, it's too big. But it's not here all the time. But one weekend he had it here, and he was out there waxing it, and she came out in there and was just, she was mad about something. And then she made some kind of remark about the boat, but I couldn't quite make out what it was, but it was something to do with the boat. And then she stomped back in the house. She's just a very angry woman. I don't think I can eat all this. I still got a lot, look. I actually feel sorry for people like her. I do. Because from my experience, people like that just seem like they're mad all the time, they're hurt. I mean, there's something going on with them. They're dealing with some kind of pain, and I think that anger is a secondary emotion to something else. I think there's something going on with her, and that's why I can't really get mad at her, although it did irk me, theoretically irk me, that I could step out of my car, and I deliberately went out of my way to catch her gaze, like, look at me, hey, and then she just turns on her heel and walks in the house. Now that ticked me off, because you just don't do that around here. I mean, I would think anywhere that would be rude, but especially in the South, you don't do that. But I try not to dwell on that. I'm not going to dwell on anger and thinking negative thoughts of her. I try to do that anyway. I think there's something else going on with her. There has to be. I mean, I just cannot imagine walking around with that much anger all the time. Life's too short to stomp around being pissed off all the time. So that's why I think maybe there's something going on that I don't know anything about. I don't know. Maybe she's dealing with an illness, or someone close to her is. Maybe he cheated on her. Maybe I don't. It could be anything, or it could be nothing. Maybe she's just like that. I don't know. That's a good tomato. It's not as good as a homegrown tomato, but it's actually not bad. So they've been fighting, yelling at each other. I don't know why how do you end up? So it's late at night, and you're not getting along with your spouse. Who goes, hey, let's take this argument out in the driveway where everybody in the neighborhood can hear? I mean, who does that? Who does that? These people. They do. That's who. These people. I don't know whose idea it was. I mean, it's late at night. Why do you go outside to argue? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna have to listen in the next time they do it. I may just what I may do, and it may help make my point. The next time they start doing that, I'll just go get one of my camping chairs, you know, like the fold out chairs. I'll get one of my camping chairs. I'll pop some popcorn, and I'll just go set up in my yard right out there, like 20 feet away, and I'll just eat my popcorn and listen to their argument right where they can see me. So it's like I'm set up for the show. Maybe then they'll go back in the house. It's worth a shot anyway. So that's them and them. It's funny because I have all these other neighbors, and maybe it's because I'm not close enough to them, but none of my other neighbors ever do anything interesting. They really don't. Well, I take that back. A few houses up from here, one of the neighbors got a new dog. They got this giant poodle. It's really cute. It's enormous. It's this great big white poodle. It is enormous. It's a big dog. And I actually saw it and I thought, you know, that dog, if it wanted to, could really hurt somebody. And it would be so embarrassing to have to tell everybody you were mauled by a poodle. But I mean, if you saw this thing, he's huge. But it seems like a really happy dog. They take it out for walks and stuff, and it always looks really happy. That age, I have 4 or 5 neighbors now that I know of that have at least one poodle. That's the most recent one. It's like a requirement on this street. You have to have a dog. I'm a rebel though. I don't have any dogs. I had one for a little while, but it's not a dog I set out to get. I literally saved this puppy. This was about a year ago. Some of y'all might remember this. I was coming home from my dad's house, and somebody had thrown a puppy out, and it was in the middle of a very busy highway. And I stopped the car, and I managed to get it out of the highway, and there was nobody around. And I ended up having to bring it home with me because it was getting dark and it had been raining. The poor little thing was scared to death. It was just a little black, looked like a black lab mix puppy, had a little bit of white on it. And I thought about keeping it, but I just honestly, we're not here enough during the day. It wouldn't be fair to the dog. I would not be able to devote enough attention to the dog. But it has a good home, and she's doing really well. They kept the name Lilu. We named her Lilu from the character in The Fifth Element. They kept the name. She's doing really well. She actually is a lot bigger than we thought she was going to be. She's a pretty good sized dog. Anyway, I don't have a dog because I'm a rebel. Yeah, I'm literally. I think we're the only house on the street that doesn't have at least one dog. There's one barking right now. What was I gonna say? Oh, I figured out something else. We are the trash leaders on this street. I was telling my son this the other day. He said, "What do you mean we're the trash leaders? What is a trash leader?" I said, "Every street has one, or that I've noticed. Every street has one house that always rolls their bins out to the curb first. Or it seems that everywhere I've ever lived, there's always one house that will go first. And around here, every other week you take out your regular garbage bin and the recycle bin. You don't take the recycle bin every week. You, on your designated trash day, every other week, you take the garbage bin and the recycle bin. And of course, every week you have your garbage day and you can take your garbage bin out." But I said, nobody around here can ever remember which week is recycle week. I said, watch. I said, we're garbage leaders because literally no one on our street, and quite a few people live on the street, but I happen to notice, nobody on the street ever puts their garbage out until we do. We are always the first ones to put our cans out. Even if I wait until the morning of trash pickup day, and if I put both cans out, even if it's not a recycle week, everyone on the street puts both cans out. I've tried the experiment. I put out both cans like 4 weeks in a row, and everyone put both cans out. It was so weird. I thought, what will happen if it's recycle day and I don't put my recycle can out? Will they not put their can out? But I don't want to try it because then I'll have to wait another 2 weeks before I put my recycle can out. And the recycle can fills up faster than the regular trash can. I'm going to be overflowing. And then I was telling my son, I said, wouldn't it be funny if we got like a third trash can? like the garbage, it's opposite of what you think it would be. The garbage bins are green, the recycle bins are brown. I said, wouldn't it be funny if we got like a blue wheelie garbage bin or a red one or whatever and just pushed it out there just to see if everybody's scratching their head going, what can is that? What goes in that one? Why don't we have one of those? I gotta call the city. How do I get my blue can and what do I put in it? It'd just be so, it would be so funny because it would throw everything off. They do whatever we do. I thought it'd be funny. So I got that going for me. I'm the trash leader of the street. It's the little things. Hmm. These people. These people over here got my hopes up one day. They did. Got mad at them. I gotta show you my shoes too. Let me tell you about these people. These people over here got my hopes up one day. I'll tell you why. One day I came home from work and there was a for sale sign in their yard. And I almost did a happy dance right in the car. I thought, thank God. Theoretically, these people may be up to some suspicious stuff over there. Maybe. Hypothetically. I was very excited because there was a for sale sign in their yard. I said, yes, yes, I can get rid of these people. Because I have two curses. I'm going to tell you about the first one, and then I'm going to show you. I have a visual aid for the second one. Because this just happened this morning. And I want to see if any of y'all have the same problem. I have a curse. Every neighborhood I live in, the trashiest, nastiest house on the street will either be right across my house or right beside it. So I have to look at it every single day. I can't even have it like down the street where I maybe can avoid it, or at least not have to look at it every time I step out of my house. No, it has to be dead straight across the street from me or right beside me, and that's the case. I may or may not have taken the advice of a few people and started writing down license plate numbers and makes and models of vehicles that showed up at the house across the street, because a lot of vehicles show up over there and then you never see them again, and they will pull up, they don't knock on the door, they just go in and come out later. Sometimes it's 5 minutes later, sometimes it's 20 minutes later, but they will go in the house, they never knock or ring the doorbell, they just walk in. And it's people I've never seen before. I've lived here over a year, and it's people I've never seen at that house. You know how you kind of get used to the people that come and go from your neighbors' houses? You're not trying to be nosy, you just notice it. Well, I may or may not have started writing all that stuff down for a few weeks, and then maybe calling the sheriff's department to mention it on the non-emergency line, theoretically. And I may or may not know that they looked into it. I do know, theoretically, that a lot of that has stopped. A lot of it has completely stopped. I don't see strange cars over there anymore. I don't see that. I haven't seen it now in over a month. I have not seen one single odd vehicle. The only weird thing is, now there are 3 vehicles that I see over there almost every day. There's a sedan and 2 SUVs. The funny thing is, I've seen this sedan and this SUV at that house on a regular basis since I moved in here over a year ago. But here's what's weird. The people driving those vehicles are not the same people anymore. It's totally different people. Because it was a kind of a short lady drove the sedan, and a young guy drove one of the SUVs, and then a guy that looked like he was in his 30s drove the other one. The people who are driving them now are totally different people. It's not the same people. These are 3 totally different folks. And the people who were driving them, I never see them anymore. I never see them at that house anymore. It's so weird. And I know what I want for Christmas. I'll tell you what I want for Christmas. I want 1 hour at that house across the street. Give me a lawnmower and a weed eater and some pruning shears in 1 hour. And I want to go over there and clean up the front of that house. If I had 1 hour, I could make that place look so much better. They don't mow. They don't weed eat. their bushes and everything are growing all over the front of the house. They grow in front of the garage. It just looks so junky, and there's trash all in the yard, and it's just nasty. But it's the kind of thing that you could clean up so easily, but they don't, because they just don't care. Nobody over there is worried about it, so they just leave it, and they don't seem too concerned about it. I want to clean it up so bad. That's what I want for Christmas. 1 hour, maybe two, to go across the street with a lawnmower and a weed eater and pruning shears so I can clean that place up, and a big trash can to put all that garbage in. And it would look so much better. Mm, I can't eat anymore. I'm full. So the for sale sign, I was so excited. I knew better than to get my hopes up, but I did anyway. It was a for sale sign in their yard. I was so excited. But then I came home the next day and it was gone. And I thought, there's no way they sold that piece of crap house that fast. Plus, if it had sold, there'd be a sold sign. That's the way all the realtors here do it. They don't just remove the sign right away. They put the big red and white sold sign up there so everybody can see, here's my face and my phone number. I just sold this house. Well, it was completely gone. It was like it was never there. And I felt like they were playing a sick joke. It's like a sick prank on me, because I was so excited to think that maybe they would go away and some people who would keep the place up would buy it. But apparently it's not for sale. Maybe they changed their mind. I don't know what happened, but it's gone. So I guess nothing's going to change over there. I'm cursed. So that's my one curse, is that the junky people always live right across from me or right beside me, and it's like I can't escape them. Every neighborhood I go to, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's an upscale neighborhood or a regular neighborhood or whatever. It happens basically everywhere I go. Here's my other curse, and I don't know why this happens to me. Now, okay, I'm going to show you this shoe. It has to do with shoes. Now, here's this shoe. Okay, now I bought this pair of shoes at a consignment shop. They were brand new. I wore them today for the first time. I had not worn these. I wore them with this dress because I thought it would look cute. Well, I got to work and I was walking into the building, and all of a sudden one of my shoes started feeling really loose. I thought, oh, that's weird. My shoe feels loose. And then I realized it had come apart. This piece had detached from there. And I said, well, that sucks. Now, this happens to me a lot. I've had this happen to multiple shoes. And then the other shoe did the same thing within 10 seconds. Not only, okay, so this one detached within 10 seconds. So I'm trying to walk, and my shoes are flopping around on my feet like flip-flops. And they're so cute. These are cute little shoes, but they're extremely cheap. They're very cheaply made. And then, to make matters worse, this shoe detached on the other side. So it's completely, like, gone. So this piece here and this piece are completely detached from the shoe. So it was all I could do to keep this on my foot. And I had my hands full because I was carrying some stuff into work this morning, and I had my hands full. So I'm trying to walk in this shoe that's trying to fly off my foot, and the other one is extremely loose, and my foot is like flopping around. This one held on, but you can see it's about to give way. So it was all I could do to get into the building. I had to walk really slowly and take short steps to keep my shoes on. And the whole way I'm so mad. I'm thinking, why does this keep happening? I have that, stuff like that happens to me all the time. It doesn't matter how expensive the shoes were. It doesn't matter where I got them. They just fall apart. My shoes just disintegrate. And I'm not rough on my shoes. It's not that I'm hard on my shoes. I don't treat them bad. This was a brand new pair. Today was the first time I ever wore these. And they were so cute. And look at them. Like, am I the only one that this happens to? Or are there other people that have this happen? It doesn't matter what kind of shoes they are. It doesn't matter who made them. Doesn't matter what I paid for them. All my shoes just disintegrate. And I take very good care of my shoes. But I go through shoe goo like it's going out of style trying to fix my shoes. These I'm not fixing. These, as soon as I got into my office, I got them off my feet and I chucked them in the trash. But then I pulled them back out because I wanted to show y'all what happened to me today. I chucked them right in the trash. I said, screw these shoes. I'm not fixing these. I'm mad at them. It happens to me so often that I keep a pair of little flats in one of my filing cabinets. In one of my file cabinets, I have a pair of little silver flats. Because my shoes fall apart so often, I have to keep an emergency pair at work for when my shoes fall apart. I've tried everything. Okay, I thought, well, maybe you're just buying cheap shoes. Maybe you need to get shoes that are made better. Okay, I'll go spend more money on shoes that are made better. They fall apart too. They just, even when I haven't worn them many times, they come apart. Or at least part of it comes off somehow and it has to be repaired. I think I just need to start wearing these because this is the only pair that has not actually fallen apart on me. This little $5 pair of collapsible flats, like little travel size. You know, you can fold them up and stick them in your suitcase or whatever. I just need to start wearing these all the time because I've had these for several years and they haven't come apart yet, oddly enough. So I was just wondering if anybody else ever has that happen, or if is it just me? I mean, do I just have really bad luck with shoes? Maybe that's all it is. I don't really know. So anyway, I have eaten all I think I'm going to have, and I do have a few more things to do. I want to try to make another video tonight, but I have a few more things to do around here before I get started on that. But I wanted to enjoy my meal with y'all and catch you up on the things around here. That's about all I know as far as stuff that has happened in my neighborhood lately. It's, for the most part, it's been pretty quiet. You know, it hasn't been. The only other thing I almost forgot. The house across the street may or may not have something going on over there, and I have not been able to figure out what it is. Every night, almost 7 nights a week, around 11 o'clock, people on the road, not even in their driveway, but on the street in front of their house, gather together and have a conversation. Sometimes it's 2 people, sometimes it's 5 or 6 people, and there are no cars. No cars come up, no cars leave, and they'll have a conversation. There have been times I've been in here making videos, and I'll hear people talking, and I'll look at the clock and go, oh, it's 11 o'clock. Every night around 11, there's like a little meeting out there in front of their house of people under the street light out there. But it's not people driving here from somewhere or riding a bike. I've never seen a bicycle or a skateboard or any mode of transportation at all. And it's never, sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's 2 or 3, sometimes it's 5 or 6. But it's pretty much every night, right around 11 o'clock. They'll be out there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I can hear them talking, and it doesn't sound tense or anything. It just sounds like a regular conversation. Then you might hear a little laughter every now and then they all just go away. I don't know where they go. It's really weird, but it's right in front of their house. But my instincts tell me to stay out of that. It's not like the people theoretically fighting in their driveway. Now that I kind of want to get in the middle of. If nothing else, just to send a subtle message, you know, take your dirty laundry back in the house. We don't all want to know that you hate each other. Just keep it inside. Some of us are trying to sleep or make videos, and we'd rather not hear your arguments out in the driveway. Other than that, that's about it. Hopefully I'll get my yard mowed eventually. It's starting to look kind of rough. Well, to me it looks rough. I don't like it when it starts to get a little, it needs to be mowed. Anyway. Hopefully I can do that soon. But thank you so much for coming to hang out with me while I enjoyed my meal, and hopefully I will see you again later tonight.